Hi guys, if you were with me last time, you'll remember I had a go at casting a Celtic Knot using the Lost PLA method, taking an ordinary 3D print and casting it in metal. I also had a go at multiple casting, trying to cast 5 of these at once. Now that failed. I only got one good cast out of 5. So today I thought I'd try again, still using a 3D printer and the Lost PLA method, but this time taking inspiration from the jewellery trade and making a casting tree. Now it's not just the jewellery trade that used this method. A friend of mine, John Dersh, creates some amazing ornamental castings for modelling enthusiasts, and he uses this exact same technique. Look at his amazing example of a casting tree. Now there's no way I could produce something that intricate, but I still wanted to have a go. So I turned to Fusion 360 and had a bash at designing the trunk of a tree that could fit 12 patterns. Each of these holes are sunk in at 45 degrees. I needed some small branches to fit inside these holes, and again these were easy enough to design and print, though when it's this small it's not exactly a perfect print, but they still work. I'm sticking with the Celtic knots from last time, but for spacing, these need to be just a little bit smaller to fit inside my steel flask. Each small branch is attached to the back of the pattern with a couple of tiny dabs of positioning wax. It's nice and sticky and surprisingly strong. Even though I shrank the size of the knots, they're still quite large by jewellery standards, and they were also taking a long time to print. So I resized the Celtic Cross that I made a few weeks earlier, and I was amazed how nice and cute these things look at this size. Eventually everything was pushed in place, which was fiddly but not difficult. You'll also see that I wrapped a small amount of wax around the join between the branch and the trunk to ensure a good watertight connection. The metal flask slid on beautifully, leaving a good amount of room on all sides. It was then just a matter of mixing up the investment casting plaster, filling the flask and letting it set for a couple of hours. It was then cooked according to the plaster manufacturer's instructions. During this time, the PLA melts out of the plaster and leaves a void ready to be filled by molten metal. Once fully cooked, it was time to melt some metal. The flask was placed on top of my homemade vacuum system, and it's still very hot inside, around 600 degrees Celsius. You can just about see the gauges registering the vacuum. The pour went well, and it was just a matter of waiting a good hour for the metal to cool down. The plunge in the cold water was unexciting. This meant scraping away soggy plaster with my fingers to get to the castings inside. And look at that. After a scrub in some hot soapy water, here's the result. The pouring basin came off in the bucket, and I think one of the knots did as well. Another knot came off while I was scrubbing the castings clean, which shows you just how thin these connections are. The trunk seems to have taken a battering, been a little hollow in places, and I'm beginning to think that's something to do with the vacuum. But at this point, I was beginning to think I had 11 good castings. An old pair of wire cutters separated everything from the trunk, and things were still looking good. Another dunk in some soapy water removed the remaining plaster, and do you know what? I really did have 11 good castings. I think there'd be 12 if I could be bothered to scour the content of my sludge bucket. And if you're thinking they look a bit rough, remember how magnified they are on your screen. I think they're every bit as good as the original 3D prints. I know not everyone likes to see the print pattern, but it's there for a good reason. For the moment, it's there to show just how much detail can be captured in the metal using this technique. Now I'm done here. It was just an experiment, but to prove how easily these can be cleaned up, I'll just rub down a couple with some sandpaper. I'm not making a fuss, but you can see there's perfect castings here. So if you fancy a little mass production, it's possible to create a casting tree with the Lost PLA method. And it seems to me those jewelers and ornamental casters are correct in using this setup. You can't get much better than 100% success rate. Well, okay, maybe not 100% in my case, unless we ignore the one that's in the sludge bucket. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and if you did, please like it. Check out my other videos, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Do send me your comments and questions, as it's always great to hear from you guys. So that's it for now. Take care, and thanks for watching.